I got asked to speak to the U.S. Senate. I was so sick when I went to D.C. that I thought I would die. The steroids had my blood pressure up to, and I was vegan at this time, to heart attack and stroke levels, 180 over 120. And I remember we were looking at the Martin Luther King monument, and I said, well, it may take years for West Virginia to see this, but at least I'm being recorded, and so it got recorded, and not much around here has been done with it. But we thought that people were going to argue with me and say that poverty in America didn't exist. And so I was ready to go to battle, against doctors. And we got in there, and it was a 2-hour-long hearing, and every single one of them said all the research that backed up everything that I was going to say. And so that went well, and then it caused this ripple effect. A couple months later, I was speaking on a panel with Jay Rockefeller about the importance of early childhood development programs and higher education. Then John Nakashima from West Virginia PBS, he got a Filmmaker Award in 2013. He started following me around for the first 1,000 Days documentary. And it's about, from birth to 3, a child's brain develops almost 90%. And there are so many problems that we can prevent and solve at that time if we have those programs. But I'm in southern West Virginia, and we don't even get hardly anything, if we even get it, that the middle and the upper parts do. Mm-hmm. So we never even see this stuff. We don't even know these things exist. And we need them the most. So he followed me around for about a year. I got on several boards: Legal Aid, National Association of Social Workers. I'm the vice president of West Virginia Healthy Kids and Families Coalition. I started out there as a volunteer, then went to a board member, and just people nominated me for those things. Well, let me back up. So what really prompted me to figure out what all these words and systems meant, because I was going to figure them out from a community organizer perspective, because that's what I've been my whole life. I didn't know that's what I was, but I unite people, and I teach them and get them to come together better. I've had to go to so many different schools and, work hard jobs. I can organize people and get them to come to work together. The day before I spoke at the U.S. Senate, I got to see the room I'd be speaking in. And Bernie Sanders was over the HELP committee, Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. And his staff women had me in that room, and I was staring at the little nameplate that said Bernie Sanders. And they said, well, go ahead, Sabrina. Go up there and sit in his chair. And I was like, me? Humble me? Like, really? And they said, yeah, get up there and practice for when you're in the Senate. And I was like, okay, I've got to learn how to do this. So it took me really about 2 years. I went to every conference, every policy workshop I could go to, every candidate training. People were giving me scholarships. Some of it I had to pay for. I spent all my retirement. It wasn't that much anyway, but I spent it. I thought I've got to learn. And I connected with people every time I go and do these things. And then I filed my papers to run in January. And
that's my last question. West Virginia House of Delegates is pretty much the state Congress, correct?
Pretty much. That's what they call it legislator, but that is what it is.
You have an inspirational story, but my understanding is West Virginia is fairly Republican. So talk to me about your race, where it's at now, and what you think, getting in there on the state level, what you think you could do to lift people out of poverty. That seems to be your passion, and you obviously have, you have your own story that gives you credibility.
Well, first of all, I think what it is, regardless of what the polls are saying, people who vote Republican who aren't in political power are probably a lot like me. They're what they call Christians, and they believe in Jesus. And They believe in helping those less fortunate. Um, but what they believe is, they're against abortion. Well, I am too. But I didn't know until right before I filed my papers that to run for this seat that Democrats didn't have to be for abortion because the doctors wanted my mom to abort me. And if she listened to the doctors, I wouldn't be here. So um, so once I learned that I could, okay, so let me back up. So for the past 3 years, what I've learned about West Virginia's legislator is the Republicans cut education. They cut workers' pay. They cut workers' benefits. They don't do what I think are Christian things. Okay, they help protect lottery places. They don't care if our electric bills go up, and they keep going up. They don't care if we have programs for children and families, but they don't want to pay their taxes. And they're the people that are making the most income. Okay, the Democrats are for all the things I said the Republicans aren't for, and most of the Democrats that are in the House, the seat that I'm vying for, are against abortion too. Now, with that being said, people can say they're against abortion. Well, if they're for birth control, then they shouldn't want to take away women's rights, because that is a woman's right. I mean, they just don't realize that the reason that we have these issues against women is men used to be able to rape women, and they would have all these children. My grandmother, my dad's mother, had 16 children, yes. and she had 3 miscarriages. My dad is the youngest of them. And they lived very hard, probably in some ways harder than what I have lived. The oldest son in the family, he died 10 years ago, but he told me that so this was my uncle, that, my grandmother would take them on the side of the road and tell them they were picking herbs, and they were really picking weeds, and she would fry them up in lard. And that's what they would eat. Of course, it didn't make them sick to their stomach, but they were starving. And they needed to eat something. Well, I mean, I know what it's like to starve. I mean, I've gone a week to 2 weeks throughout my whole life not having food every day, every month, until a year ago. And I know people who were doing that, who were living that hard. And I say, okay, the Republicans want to take away the food stamp program, and they say all of our tax money's going to that. Well, really, it's not. Not even 1% of taxes goes to that. Where does the tax money go? It goes right into the hands of the billionaires and the millionaires. They don't have to pay taxes, and then they get tax rebates from us. The low-income people pay taxes too. So it's like we're paying them for them to tell us something that's not true, and people believe it. So the Democrats, they want the rich people to have to pay their taxes too. And if we had more money going around here, we'd have a lot more programs besides food stamps. Right. And I mean, and so that ties into another thing. So they talk about guns rights. Well, I'm not for taking guns away. I have deer hunters in my family. Okay, but when they hear I'm a Democrat, they think, oh, well, she's against guns. Well, it's just not true. Well, I sit and think about the Republicans who've been in power this past year, and one of them's running for governor, did this. Same as Bill Cole. He made it so that people did not have to have training or permit in West Virginia to get a gun. Now, if they end up staying in power and they abolish food stamps, what do you think these people who are on food stamps that are already going a week to 2 weeks every month without food every day, what do you think they're going to have to do when they go without food for a month? And let me add to that, because the people at the bottom are the most humble. They're the most modest. They're already going without so much that everybody else is. What will the people do that haven't lost their jobs, that don't know what it's like to try to get unemployment and food stamps? What will they do? How long will it take them to go get a gun when they went without food for 3 days?
Right.
What will they do? See, I'm looking at the long-term effects of this. Like, what are they trying to do to us? McDowell County, there's only 18,000 people there. In the 50s, there was over 100,000 people there. Mm-hmm. I mean, do they just want us to die? Because people in McDowell County are already dying the youngest. But here's the thing. I used to think, oh, it's just McDowell County. The past few years I've learned it's every county in West Virginia. We all got the same problems.
And this story is happening all over the country,
It
in
is.
many other states with Republicans running it, and frankly, a lot of Democrats aren't that much better. But I gotta run. Where could people find out more information about you if they want to help you, if they want to help volunteer for you? You're inspirational to me, and I assume a
Thanks.
lot of the viewers. So where can people find out more?
Well, Act Blue, they can do Act Blue Sabrina Schrader, SABRINA SHRADER. There's no C in that. They can donate money there. My Facebook page, I'm holding up my sign, Sabrina Schrader for House of Delegates. That's a good way to reach me, or if they really want to, they can call me at 304-922-9879.
Be careful what you wish for, because you might be getting a lot of calls now. Uh,
Well, if I do, I will get to them when I can.
Well, I think sometimes when I'm covering the day to day politics, which is pretty depressing these days, uh, I forget that there are in Bernie's movement and beyond. There's a lot of inspirational people who have taken life's lemons and made a lot of lemonade. So I appreciate you telling me your story, and good luck in your race.
Thank you so much. Bless
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Take care.